So what was your name?
Roshaun.
Roshaun, cool.
Yeah.
I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you.
Maylot?
Maylot.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What's your dream? What are you thinking about right
That's
now?
interesting. That's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm sitting here on the beach, and I understand that I have the power to create whatever I want in my life. And so that's what I'm thinking about right now. Like, what are those things that I want to create? What are those things that I want to become, and understand that I can do that just by being who I am. Yeah.
So what are the things that are showing up and going away?
I think what I'm thinking about is just kind of what I want to, when I think about creating, right? When I think about, you think about, oh, I want to have money, or I want to be this, or I want to have this. And I no longer want to create that way, Like, I've been creating that way. I've been successful. I've created things. I'm a business owner and all of those things. But for me, like right now, I just want to empower people to be in this space, I want people to be able to create their lives, and empower them to do the same.
Awesome. Do you believe in faith? Faith, I mean?
I do, so much so.
Yeah.
So much
What
so.
do you think this channel is about?
I don't know, but the fact that you guys came here makes complete sense.
It's about empowerment, and like, I was basically like you, I was like an entrepreneur, and then I was like, I wanna, instead of counting money, I wanna count people's lives I can change or help change.
Exactly. What's the name of your channel?
worldimproving.com/Dave. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Perfect. You guys, and I'm sure you understand it.
Yeah.
But how perfect it is for me to be sitting right here at this time.
Cool.
Absolutely.
So how would you want to empower people?
I just want to be able to allow them to be in the moment and really create straight from the moment. And when you understand the moment and understand being present and being able to look someone in the eyes and be able to like say, hey, I see you. Hey, I see you. When you can be there, that's all the power you need. But I think it's a deep, like, you can, I feel like we go through life, right? And it's just like you see each other and say, or some people are just like, oh, what did you say? And they don't even pay attention to each other.
Yeah.
But there's a being inside of you that you can look someone in their eye and see, and be very present with them when you look them in their eye and you can say, like, hello, But a lot of people don't do that anymore. We lost We lost that, right? We lost it. And so just empowering people to stay there and like get there and chip away whatever it is that's like holding them back from being in there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I
was
creating here.
How would you, who would you want to start to empower? How would you select the people to start with?
That's an interesting question. For me, I think about, like, obviously my family, right? You want to start with the people that are close to you. But I've learned that if I can just sit places, then things like this literally happen. Right?
Yeah.
I just came from the taco shop up the street, and I'm sitting there, and there's two people having a conversation, and they're talking about meditating and things like that. And I just turned to them and I said, you know what, you guys have a beautiful conversation happening. I've been alone this whole weekend, and I've got to like tune in and listen to people, and not a lot of people talk like you.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, word, and they started talking to me, and we just had a natural conversation in the present. you know? So it's not about going out and changing every single person in the world. It's about those natural connections with people and letting the universe do what it's supposed to do. And it's like that attraction and that alignment.
Yeah.
So it's about being available, you
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah,
If you're in that space, and from that space you can create the vision.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at least.
Yeah.
Say it's not about changing every person in the world, and I agree. I mean, people have to seek for change and want to change and have a reason for it if it's gonna happen. And you also have like a restless part somewhere in you where it's like, oh, like these people suffering, or 1/3 of the US population on antidepressants, like, you know, do you feel like it would be nice to scale it?
I do. And that's what I had to deal with this weekend. Is like, for me, a lot of where I wasn't being authentic with myself because I was letting fear hold me back was I was so worried about life and death. right? I was so afraid of death that in a sense I was afraid to live, right? And so when I look at it from those perspectives of people too, it's like I can't be afraid and I can't let like numbers and things like that and the people who are living their lives in the ways that they're living their lives allow me to be fearful, you know? And, you know, you can look at all of the people who are suffering and that begins to make you fearful, right? But it can, yeah. And it allows you to not be in the moment, you know, because it's a fear. And when you allow fear to get in, then you're not creating from an authentic space.
Yeah. An interesting thing about fear, though, is that first time you jump out on an airplane, for example, with a parachute, you're scared. You don't want to let go. You're like clinging onto the airplane. You're like, and then you force yourself to jump because everyone is waiting for you.
Yeah.
But then maybe that's not a good analogy because not everyone does that. But like then the 14th time you do it, it's like, got this, you know, and just do it.
Yeah.
So the fear is gone, and I think it's like that with suffering too.
Yeah.
That, you know, if you see people suffer a lot, and you hang out with them and you let yourself feel that fear, and then you discover, you can still joke with them even though they're suffering.
Yeah.
You can still like just like be wherever you are with them, and you can bring some you know smiles out of them, and you can make them laugh. And that's when you feel like it's not scary anymore. It's just
scary,
someone suffering, and we all suffer, and everyone does it now and then, and that's just my take on it.
And I feel like that's a perfect analogy of like that's when you can interject who you are onto them, and it empowers them in a certain way. It may not empower them to go out and make $1 million the next day, but it empowers them to know that there's still like a connection there.
Yeah.
You know? Like I was walking down the street the other day and I saw like a lady, and I saw her 3 days in a row, and so the last day I talked to her and I was just like, hey, who are you? Like, what's your name? And you could tell, like, it was like 10 o'clock at night. Here's this black guy walking up to her. And, you know, I'm sure she had her things going on in her head.
Yeah.
I had my things going on in my head, and I was like, no. And so I just stopped, had a conversation with her, asked her where she was going, told her I wasn't from here, and we had a great conversation. And that changed the universe, you know? Like, we like to think like there has to be like this big change, you know? It's just like these little things that you can do to change everything.
Yeah.
Like this can change the universe, you know? That's it.
Let's
That's
do
all
it.
you have to do.
I
I just changed. See, I just changed it.
I'm going all in.
You're inspiring all of us.
See?
Yeah.
That's all it takes. You know?
Yeah.
But you have to be in that space in order for that.
No, when you mentioned suffering, I remember hearing something, I think it was a radio channel, and it was refugees, and they had, you know how there shows about talent, like America's Got Talent, the show's got different countries. It was Refugees Got Talent, and like they were enjoying where they were. Like despite their external circumstances, and so just a lot of it is about perspective. And as soon as you said that, that's what it brought to mind. It's just I remember hearing that and seeing that and thinking how inspiring that was. So it's obviously there is suffering in a small scale or in a large scale. But well, what I'm hearing from you is like it starts with you, like in you dealing with the things that that you have to get past, and then you're able to
help.
Yeah.
Be there.
Yeah.
Perfect example. My mom used to always tell me is like, I grew up in poverty, so I did not know anything different. You know, and when she told me that, it was like, oh, yeah, you grow up with what you have. And that doesn't make it wrong, it doesn't make it right, but someone outside of that looks at that and says that's wrong. Or someone that looks at that and has less than says that's right. You know, and she's like, I knew no different. This is just how I grew up. But then someone who probably grew up rich was like, oh my God, look at her, she's so poor. And, oh, poor her, you know? And so it's like you're saying, that's that perspective that we all attach to ourselves. And when we start to scrape that away and understand like we're all nothing, and we all come from nothing, so the moment that we start to attach meaning to things is when we messed up, actually. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like good, bad, looking good, not looking good, things like that, all kind of make it dissipate from being authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask you, what when you said that you've been successful, did you say you also had a business?
Yeah.
What did you do?
So I do. So my wife and I own an events agency,
Okay.
and so we produce events, large-scale events in Sacramento. It's funny because on every Southwest airline right now in May, there's an article on us. So
Oh,
I've
wow.
been watching like Southwest airlines going on, and be like, oh yeah, we're in every single one of those airplanes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
There I'm
you.
flying around.
There I am flying around.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, sitting here.
Yeah.
But so we produce events all over Sacramento, and then from there we got into this space where a lot of the small businesses that were coming to our events were making money, and so they were like, "Hey, when are you guys going to do another event? When are you guys going to do another event?" And I was like, "Why? Like, why? Why do you guys keep asking us that?" And they're like, "Because at your events we make money. At the other events we really don't, because we were able to curate them in a certain way that attracted people to us." And so from there I was like, well, what if we had a space where everybody could come and you can put your products, and instead of just waiting for one time a month, you can have it every single day. So we opened up a retail store called Display California, where we
awesome.
focus on California makers and designers. And you know, it's a beautiful thing because someone will come in and say like, hey, I'm looking for this one thing, and then they'll walk in and say, but oh, I like this, and I like this, and I like this. And so everybody pointing to the store creates awareness in a way that it wasn't before.
That's actually kind of what I'm trying to do with my empowerment site. Is
Yeah.
that I have, worldimprovement.com/Dave,
Yeah.
but then there's also worldimprovement.com/Oprah Winfrey. There's
Yeah.
/people you don't know.
Yeah.
There's /Tony Robbins,
Yeah.
And there's /homeless, /art of happiness for books and for,
Yeah.
so it's
And then everybody can go there and kind of learn about each other. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's
and how did people have to pay to put their things on display in your
no.
event?
So we just do consignment. So we do 50/50
okay.
consignment. And then our office is on the back side. So we were looking for a space anyway.
Yeah.
So our office where we produce our events is on the back side, and then the front side is display. And then from there we opened up another store next door called Damas, which is ladies in Spanish.
Okay.
And so we focus on women makers and designers.
Yeah.
So same concept, but it's strictly for women.
During the next year to get closer to your dream?
Oh, that's a good one. Just stay in the moment. Like that is what I am all about right now, is just staying in the moment and realizing that from that I can create whatever I want, you know. And
I think a lot
it's
of
a
people
practice.
watching, I'm gonna be them for a second. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say like, what does that even
Yeah.
mean? Stay in the
Stay-
moment. If that solves
stay in
anything,
the
I'm right
moment.
here. I'm just
That's
staying here.
all that it takes. That's all that it takes when you really think about it.
I mean, it's distractions, right? Like we a lot of times I think we say we're here, but our
But
mind
we're
is
not.
elsewhere,
No,
right?
It's elsewhere. It's either in the past or it's thinking about how I can get to the future. It's not present. It's not. And, you know, it's like when you're present, you realize like there's infinite possibilities around me right now. Like I can go run right now and just jump straight in the ocean. I can run right back and go behind me. Like there's so many options when you're present in the moment
Yeah.
that we don't think about because we're not there. We're
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
about the past, we're thinking about the future. We're
Absolutely.
somewhere other than now. But it's a
Did you get
practice.
that? How he's looking for escape options?
Them all.
You're surrounded.
I can jump in the ocean. Run that way.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think about it in those terms, and just over the next year, obviously, like there are going to be things that kind of knock me off center, right? And I start thinking about this and thinking about that. But that's my practice for the next year, is just to see how long I can keep this, you know? And when I feel like I'm going off, kind of veer myself back. And then whatever comes to me, I can start to create. Like we're creating relationships right now with you two.
Yeah.
And that's something that was really hard for me. It was really hard for me before to like sit and talk with someone like this and look them in the eye and
Yeah.
be here. Like I'd be like, hey, how's it going? Gotta make money, gotta check in. But now it's like, no, like just in the span of 24 hours, I've had beautiful conversations, walks that I've never had before. And it's nothing different than what I'm doing, but it's also completely different at the same time because I'm present,
Yeah.
When you go back to Sacramento, was that when the switch happened? When you left there and came here, and now you're another person here?
Yeah.
And when you go back, are you gonna get into that thing again?
He's taking
not.
it.
Yeah.
He's taking this with
I'm
him.
taking
Yeah.
this new with me.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that was one of the things I was thinking about too is, for my wife and I, we've always said like, we want, like being here sitting at the ocean, this makes me happy, but in Sacramento, it takes you 3 hours to get close to a beach.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always said like, oh, we'll move to LA or we'll move to Southern California one day so we can be by the beach. And we have three sons. And it's like they love playing on the beach. And so I was actually sitting here, I'm like, what am I waiting for? Like, what am I sitting, waiting for to move, to make those switches?
Yeah.
And then thinking about it, then it's like, oh, well, this. And then it's like, no, stay there, and just be there. And then you guys show up.
So
Yeah.
possible move is what I'm hearing.
Possible
Yeah,
move.
do it, man. I was
Yeah.
waiting for way too long, and I was
Yeah.
spending like 3 months, or I don't know, I was spending 6 months of Swedish winter now, and
Yeah.
3 of them in a small town where nothing was happening for me,
Yeah.
and I was really just being comfortable. Like I
Mhm.
could book the ticket, but I just wanted to fix my, papers for my receipts for my
Yeah.
account and this and that.
Yeah.
I could have just gone here, fixed it here, sent it home,
Mhm.
but 3 months. And yeah, don't spend 3 months in Sacramento if you want to be here,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that event thing would work here if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. And we know it. We know it like the back of our hand. We know it'll work. We see other things here and we're like, oh, but it's just always been fear. To be honest with you, it's been fear that's held us back,
Yeah.
Just being comfortable, like you said. Like it's very comfortable where we are and it's very successful in a sense of like other people defining success for us. They're like,